And, I mean, this is more that was coming from Utah Cloud Seeding Company, like I said. And it's kind of interesting because in this publication here, they mentioned that they've been doing it since 1973. But in the publications that come right direct from the Utah Cloud Seeding, from the university there, they mentioned that they've been doing it since the 60s. So I think that contradiction is kind of curious too. But in this here, where they talk about the concerns regarding silver iodide, really the only health effect that they mention and talk about, as in the other publication, is the fact that it causes argyria, which is that ashen gray skin, which I think is really curious, because if they've been doing this since, you know, the 40s, like what a lot of other publications talk about, and more specifically like that publication, the Committee on Weather Modification, talks about it, that they've been doing this stuff since the 40s. If they've been doing it long enough, eventually maybe they had predicted, and someone had predicted, that it was going to cause people to have ashen gray skin, so thus the grays were born, right? The gray narrative was born because they thought that by, you know, a certain period of time there would be so many people that had been exposed to this stuff that they would be walking around with ashen gray skin, and they could just say they're alien gray. But in this here, they talk about the conclusion. While silver iodide cloud seeding programs do result in elevated silver levels in precipitation compared with background, these levels remain significantly below the EPA SMLCL for silver in drinking water of 100 parts per billion. It is also important to note that the majority of precipitation in cloud seeding areas is still the result of natural processes and will not contain silver iodide. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that, especially out here where they've been doing it all the way around us for so long. Yeah. For example, Utah cloud seeding projects during the 2012-2013 season were estimated to have resulted in a 10.9% increase in precipitation during the active seeding period. Thus, silver iodide in the snowpack in cloud seeding areas will be considerably diluted during the spring melt. Ever. Given these facts and the relatively low toxicity of silver in humans, and again, I have to question that. How can you say that the toxicity is low? Because there's other reports and data that says that data isn't available, and that data hasn't been done. That there hasn't been toxicology done, but there has, and they're just withholding the information, and they're not informing the public, and that's very, very dangerous and terrifying. The EEP concludes that silver from cloud seeding projects is not expected to harm people's health. Bullshit. We can put two and two together, folks, okay? I have the safety data sheet. I have this here, too. This is on silver itself, the fact sheet concerning the effects of silver. I mean, we live in the silver state out here. It stands to reason that we're going to be exposed to it. But as far as spraying it with these generators and intentionally putting it into the atmosphere with the intent that they have, no. It really is absolutely insane, folks. And it's this here, the safety data sheet, is pretty curious when you look at it. It talks about the identification of the substance. You can see this is for silver iodide, 99% extra pure. Identification of the substance mixture and of the company undertaking. The registration number, it says here, it is not required to list the identified uses because the substance is not subject to registration according to REACH. Why wouldn't this substance be subject to registration? And why wouldn't they have to put on there, like what the other publication that I had on silver iodide actually put on there, that its uses were for research and science? So why wouldn't this safety data sheet at least include that it's already been registered and being used for research and science? But this one here says that it doesn't have to list that. It doesn't have to provide that information. Yeah, and it says here, do not use for products which come into contact with foodstuffs. Do not use for private purposes or household purposes. But you can spray it freely in our environment, right? Yeah, hazardous identification. Yeah, it's kind of curious because it says the most important adverse physical, chemical, human health, and environmental effects, spillage and firewater can cause pollution of water courses. So, I mean, come on, hello. This is what Nevada Senate approved to pay the Desert Research Institute to spray on us. And what does it say here? Label elements, warning. Oh, it's very toxic to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. But it doesn't harm the humans, though. It's only very toxic to the aquatic life with long-lasting effects. Yeah, avoid release into the environment. But you can go ahead and spray it out of your cloud seeding generators, right? It's not toxic to human beings, but, you know, you don't want to release it out and hurt the aquatic life, right? They're acknowledging that it's harmful to the aquatic life with long-lasting effects, but they're not putting out all the information on the effects on the humans. And we can only put two and two together, folks. Are we really that freaking stupid? Here's your first aid measures where they require you to rinse your skin with water. Provide fresh air. How are you going to get fresh air when it's all the way around you, when it's being sprayed freely into your atmosphere and injected into the atmospheric river that flows over your city? Flush with water. This is pretty curious. Most important symptoms and effects, both acute and delayed. Symptoms and effects are not known to date. Symptoms and effects are not known to date. Then how the hell is this substance being allowed to be sold and utilized in public? Tell me how that would have passed, right? Oh, I'm telling y'all. There's more because it talks something about avoiding UV too. Here we go. Accidental release measures. What about intentional release measures? Personal precautions, protective equipment, and emergency procedures. Avoid contact with skin, eyes, and clothes. Do not breathe the dust. Keep away from drains, surface, and groundwater. Retain contaminated washing water and dispose of it. I'm telling y'all. Control of the dust. Place in appropriate containers for disposal. Precautions for handling. Here we go. Handling and storage. Avoid dust formation. Removal of dust deposits. Avoid release to the environment. Avoid release to the environment. But you got Desert Research Institute and the Utah Cloud Seeding and multiple other cloud seeding universities just freely spraying it into our environment. But this safety data sheet says to avoid release to the environment. Wash hands before breaks and after work. Keep away from food, drink, and animal feeding stuff. Store in a dry place. Observe hints for confined storage. Use local and general ventilation. Hang on, because I know there was something in here that said something about UV too. Yeah, here we go. This is exposure controls for personal protection even. This is for people who work around with it. Occupational exposure limit values or data is not available. Why wouldn't that data be available? When it says right here, human, inhalatory, worker, industry, chronic, systemic effects. Where's the detail? Environmental values, aquatic organisms, sewage treatment plant, short-term, single instance, short-term, freshwater, marine water. I mean, use safety goggles with side protection. Wear suitable gloves. Hang on, because I wanted to get to the part where it talks about avoiding for, respiratory protection even. Respiratory protection necessary at dust formation, particulate filter device, and even gives the number. But you're still going to spray it freely. Keep away from drains, surface, and groundwater, but you're still going to spray it into our fucking atmosphere, right? Pardon the French. But it's frustrating, man. I'm telling you. Let me see. It's non-combustible. Lower and upper explosion limit, not determined. What? Flashpoint, not applicable, not determined, not relevant. Water soluble. The study does not need to be conducted because the substance is known to be insoluble in water. Insoluble in water. So when it's going up there into our atmosphere, it's not going to break down like they would like everybody to think. Oh my goodness, I'm getting... hang on, I know there was a part here. Stability and reactivity. Here we go. I think this is it. Yes. This material is not reactive under normal ambient conditions. The material is stable under normal ambient and anticipated storage and handling conditions of temperature and pressure. Possibility of hazardous reactions. Violent reaction with it's a strong oxidizer. Conditions to avoid UV radiation and sunlight. Well, fuck me running. What do we have in our upper atmosphere? Don't we have UV radiation and sunlight? And they want to inject this into our atmosphere here? Or rather, they have been. But it's the condition to avoid, right? Incompatible materials. There's no additional information. Hazardous decomposition products. Hazardous... I'm telling y'all to sit here in this publication and talk about how it's highly toxic to aquatic animals. But then when it comes to this whole thing of the human health effects, you have no data available. And again, ecological information. Very toxic to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. I mean, come on. I mean, really? This material and its container must be disposed of as hazardous waste. Dispose of content/container in accordance with local, regional, national, international regulations. Do not empty into drains. Avoid release into the environment. Once again, is repeated. Refer to special instruction safety data sheets. It is a dangerous waste. Only packagings which are approved may be used. But it's perfectly safe to spray it out into your cloud seeding generators. It doesn't harm at that point. Them generators attenuate the danger, see. That's all I know. I don't know anything more than that. I just know what they look like, too. I'm telling y'all, this is terrifying. More people need to know this type of information about silver iodide. Not just this little bit fluffy bullshit that they put out that gets passed on to Congress so that Congress believes that it's all just hunky-dory, right? I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated because I did videos on this back when this bill was first introduced in the beginning of the year. I mean, come on. Hazardous to the aquatic environment. Once again, repeated. Environmental hazards. Hazardous to the aquatic environment. So let me guess, we got the people that are standing up for the animals that have required this information, but the human animals could give a shit less and didn't probably even know anything about it, right? Yeah, that's about it on that, folks. I'm frustrated. I really am. I'm like, it's beyond me how ignorant people can be and how people can, there's information like this with the safety data sheet as well as the other data sheet that I had on silver iodide that clearly shows that it is not safe to be just injecting into our atmosphere. But yet, hey, Desert Research Institute, they're laughing all the way to the fucking bank on that one. Because not only have they been allowed to install the generators to begin with and run them for the last decade that we know of here in Nevada, but now they got taxpayers paying for it. Paying for you to be poisoned. Paying for your own poisoning. Could it get any more diabolical or shameful? I don't know. I have more information, though, I definitely want to share. I have some of this information on the commercial space systems involving Ukraine and stuff, too, and I really want to get into some of this with this Government Accountability Office and these different files, more specifically into the Space Forces program assessments. And I have this here, too, that I wanted to go into a little bit just to point out. I mean, this is the report that was done for aluminum nanoparticles. But I know somewhere there's more reports that was done with silver iodide. I have to dig deeper for it because a lot of the other links that I had on silver iodide have gone 404. And if I sound like I'm cracking up, it's because I'm kind of getting a little bit emotional about it. Because it's really important for people to know all information before they make decisions about stuff. And I mean, if our leaders are just actors, they're just ignorant assholes, and they're doing it and allowing this shit to be done intentionally because they know the long-term effects, and fuck me running, I can't. It's insanity. I'm gonna make sure that people around here know, though, what exactly is going on. People need to have this kind of information on this shit. So, whatever. I want to talk a little bit more about the Defender 2023 too. I have their little fact sheet here on their Air Defender 23, NATO's largest freaking operation, where they're going to go over there and attempt to posture and intimidate Russia some more in their little war games. So anyway, I'm taking a break right now. If I still have your attention on this video, then you know I appreciate it. And there's definitely more to come if I can help it. Oh man, it's such a tough hill to climb. Oh my gosh, this too. Good Lord, this too. I wanted to share this information about the Parker Solar Probe and the date, y'all. They are playing around with information because this is all stuff that supposedly occurred around on August 11th. And I know this was not information that was available back around that time, back when I captured that line of energy coming into the valley here from the south, too. So that's something additional. That's going to be another video yet, too. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please stay safe and mindful. Know that I appreciate it and that it matters very much to me.